It gets better every time you're around. It gets better every time you're around. It gets better every time you're around. Every time. It gets better. It gets better. Your love makes
Let's get ready to capsule. We're
That
back.
was a special one. And we're working.
And we're working. Episode 24.
24. Got a special guest in the house. Tiffany Salas, a.k.a.
Tiffany.
Chiffani.
Chiffani?
They got it all
Chiffani.
wrong, so I'm gonna pause right now.
Help us out.
I'm gonna pause right now because I know that I sent the proper way to say the name of my Chiffani.
Chiffani.
So
That's
it's
what I
like
said.
so
That's
you
what he
so
said.
it's like nah.
I said it wrong.
Chiffani, Chiffany.
No, I ain't say Chiffany.
Somebody else said Chiffany. It's Tiffany Chiffani Salas. It kind of like rolls off your tongue.
Ooh.
Well, we have our special guest, Chiffani.
You got it right. That's crazy.
And I said it right the first time. Chiffani.
All right. So today's show is preserving the legacy.
Preserving the legacy. A legacy. The legacy. Your legacy. Whose legacy? And welcome back.
And welcome back. How was your week?
Constant elevating.
Constant elevation. I like it.
I'm taking your word that you asked first.
Yeah, that's definitely my wave.
Well, how was your week?
Always elevating, you know, staying positive,
Yeah.
staying aware, woke. How was your week?
Amazing.
Amazing.
As it should be.
Week, yes.
As it should be. And here we are, back. So what's been going on? Anything we need to, except for the war in Ukraine, you know.
Yeah, gas prices is crazy right now.
Everything is up.
Yeah.
Yeah. You know, I don't know if people are actually starting to feel the squeeze, but yeah, it's a little squeeze. So you just might go out and you might realize that what you used to spend in food and groceries just went up a little bit. You know, your gas price just went up a little bit. You know, if you used to fill your truck up for $30, you might be filling up for $60, $70. Now, you know, even your entourage has went up. You know, like, what do you think about that?
Entourages.
No, not the entourage. I'm just talking about the inflation.
I wouldn't know anything about those. But I would say that if you're feeling a squeeze, you got to remember, like, this is a capitalist society, right? So, mans gave out mad money last year. We should have knew this was coming. So I'm a designer.
Spend on them PPP
I'm a designer, and the trends is what we watch, the forecast, and it's the same in them PPP loans and all the other stuff that they gave out last year, and they weren't double checking finitely like how they are now for even micro loans.
Some people was upgrading their legacy.
Let me upgrade this legacy real quick. Let me put this.
Right.
You know, some people threw it in the stock market. A lot of people threw it in
Yeah,
stocks.
if they were smart.
Well,
It's a good place for your bail money to be at.
just in case they might come back
Right,
and get
before you
you.
become livestock.
Well, this week, it's Beanie Siegel's birthday.
Oh, yeah.
We had birthdays.
Happy birthday.
Happy
Happy
birthday.
born day, Beanie.
Beanie Siegel. Beanie's been getting a lot of publicity lately, too.
Oh, yeah.
You know, following the whole Kanye, you know, letting the world know
Extravaganza.
that he got named Jesus from Beanie.
Hey, man, you know, growth and development. You got to give back to those who were there in the beginning. You know. Also, Papoose' birthday,
Ooh,
day
shout-
after.
Oh, really?
Shout out to Papoose.
Shout out to Papoose birthday. Yeah. Speaking of Kanye, you been following the Kanye documentary?
I've been following the Kanye documentary, but what I will say is that Kanye might be like my older brother from another mother in real life. In regards to his like the old Kanye, I'll put it that way.
Okay.
I resonate with the old Kanye so much so.
Okay.
Like as far as his belief in himself, as far as him telling people things and then them not believing it, and then him then having to showcase in like such a grandiose way. You know what I'm saying? What he was telling them all along.
Okay.
I definitely identify that way. And that way with it.
Well, shout out to Cootie and Chike because they just cashed in on 30 million.
30 mil.
I saw that.
Wow, with Netflix.
And it's deserved,
Yeah, it's very deserved.
you know.
Shout out
And that's
to that.
kind of, you know, we're not taking the capsule is designed to actually capsulate those moments.
Yeah, preserve a legacy.
But they've been doing it in their
they've been doing it for a while.
for years.
They've been doing it for a while, you know, like they've been doing
appreciate it.
yeah.
From the grassroots.
Yeah, before he was somebody, when it was just a vision.
Right.
And they stuck with it.
And I think, you know, give it up for the visionaries. Because without vision, you know, there is no purpose. There is no culture being preserved. There is no report of current affairs or anything that happened prior to what's going on currently. If we don't have someone actually looking, listening, observing, and bringing it back to us so that we'll know that those things are happening. So that's very important.
Yeah. And speaking on, I mean, they all in the same family, you know.
Yeah.
Kanye, Cootie, Chike, now you got Dame. You know, speaking of that whole family,
Yeah.
Dame and them back in court,
Yeah.
you know. Jay, yeah, I mean, I read an article. Dame was saying it's kind of embarrassing that they're dragging each other through court. You know, I mean, two people that built a legacy together, and then now it's like, you know, I mean, you got anything to say about that?
It's like any relationship. Like you have your ups, your downs. Me personally, I like to handle things outside of court. I'm sure there was conversations, but nowadays it seems like to be the trend to get court involved. A lot of money is involved also. When money is involved, you need some type of mediation. And if the mediation has to be court, then it so has it. So, you know, someone that's not making as much money but has a child, doesn't get along with the child's mother or the child's father. Instead of saying, listen, this is what I can do and this is where I'm at with it, court usually gets involved. Mediation. And now you have somebody
Hold
else
up.
dictating
Who's
how much you're
showing
going to
up
receive.
at this time of the, like, in the middle of the interview?
You know, this is a real show.
It is a real show.
You know what I'm saying? So
Who
real
was
things
it?
happen.
Rich?
No, it's Bree.
Oh, Bree. Oh, Bree's here. Shout out to Bree. Shout out to Bree. So yeah, so you were saying you hate to drag people through court. That's not your style.
I mean, if I have to, that's what I'm saying. I'm not taking either one side, but I would like to have a conversation if it was me personally, and if it has to go past a conversation and we get another person involved, I'm sure mediation was instigated. But usually after that mediation doesn't happen, nobody gets any, no
Nothing
playroom,
resolved.
nothing
Yeah,
that
yeah.
absorbs out of it. You got to go to court. And sometimes in court you lose.
Court's big business too. Like you,
know-
gotta pay money. You gotta pay court fees.
Cardi B and Tasha K, right?
Oh, listen. Don't be
Could've been a
slandering. Don't be
conversation.
slandering nobody out there. We don't. That's why we don't do that. We don't do the slandering thing.
Right.
Like we gotta get the facts. If you don't have the facts, don't speak on it.
Face the facts.
Oh, and there goes the doorbell. Oh, see,
Come in.
no,
It's a lot.
it's locked.
So we about to start over.
No. This is how we flow. We flow in the moment.
It's community.
This is community. This is what we do. It's all live. Like, You know,
So it's like reality show.
something like that.
Okay.
Well, she doesn't know the culture of the show, you know, so
Okay.
we're welcoming her. What's up, Bree?
Hey, what's up?
What's up? You interview.
So,
Late to the interview, sis.
Johnny Brown,
What's going on?
Rest in peace.
Bookman,
Also known as Bookman on Good Times.
84 years old.
84 years old.
Yeah.
One of my favorite actors. So one of my favorite people that played on that show.
Man, feel
He
free.
brought the realness to it.
Oh, yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
He was a superintendent of the building, also janitor, probably. The guy with the jewels. He, popped into
Always.
people's apartments and spread wealth. Rest in peace to that brother.
Was you into Good Times?
See, I was born in '89. I mean, I watched it, but I wasn't really that big of like a TV kid. I was one of those kids that would be like under the covers reading and
Really?
drawing.
Oh, wow.
Drawing. I was one of those kids. Flashlight, breaking things, building them back. Like,
Hiding in the attic.
none of that.
none of
We
that.
actually stayed in my grandmother's attic. It was built out.
Oh, okay.
Like an apartment.
Wow, nice.
But yeah, I was one of those kids.
Good times. Good times.
Good time.
So
So I
yeah.
finally see myself on a monitor, and the fupa was showing, so I crossed my legs because when you documenting everything like JG, you can't be out here looking
See, she got that
crazy.
JG swag. For all y'all that don't know, that's that Jerry Gant swag. We'll get into that shortly. Oh, we got the Jerry Gant flow in the house tonight. Well, we'll get into that shortly. Bree just threw her Jerry Gant Black Power fist up as soon as she heard the name. So, we'll go into a commercial real quick. Dirty Souls. This is a family-owned business. And
Preserving their legacy.
preserving their
Shouts
legacy.
to Dirty Souls.
Oh, you know Dirty Souls.
Yes, we know Dirty Souls.
Oh,
yes.
you want to talk about Dirty Souls real quick?
We love the work that they're doing in the community. I know that they have a partnership with Newark Fashion Institute. I think that's the name of the school. I'm sorry, but I just know it's a fashion school that they have brought to the city of Newark, and that is just exciting to me.
and
Like
they're
I can't
teaching.
wait to just be able to partner with them. So I
they
want to be
just-
able to do that.
They just might be listening to you right now.
I want, you know what?
Dirty Souls.
You
Dirty
know what?
Souls.
Yeah, they just might be listening to you. So, yeah, Dirty Souls. Let's run into the commercial. Shout out.
We're back
And we're working. Yeah.
Shyborn Infinite.
God Santoni and
Tiffany Chiffani.
ooh.
We
See
can
how-
never say
she
it that
always
smooth.
she
We
always
can
keep
never
going
s-
with the smooth. I wish I could be smooth like you, yo. Like for real. You come up here with the bucket, with the listen. You know what? She a stylist for real. She do her thing.
This is fun.
So, speaking about legacies, I mean, y'all see we already started early. Like, we kind of like touched on legacy a little bit, even from
Right.
the intro. What does legacy mean to you guys? When you hear legacy, what do you mean? What do you hear?
I'd say legacy is it's the garden you leave, right? It's all the seeds you planted while you were here. I'm big on, I don't know if I'll ever have children. I'm not really in that place right now, but I'm big on pushing everybody that looks like me, their narratives forward, and doing it passionately, because if not, other people will write our stories. And I didn't come here to, have biographies. I am the autobiography. So I need you to know that. And in order for you to know that I was here, you have to be able to view my garden all over the world. Yeah.
Gotcha.
That's legacy.
That's
That's
heavy.
deep.
That's heavy.
That's the piggyback that I agree 100%. I would just say inheritance, genealogy, your very genetics that you have. Like the legacy is passed on from whatever you've done, from whatever your forefathers did, and you encapsulate it. And as in Africa in early times, we had griots, right? That would sit around and tell stories and fables. And as these fables get transferred to the next generation, what happens is sometimes some get added to the story, right? And sometimes things get left out. And that's the reason we have the Ill Mind Capsule, is because we want to get a solid foundation of what's happening, what happened, already happened, and what we foresee happening.
Yeah.
So in that sense, that garden is, everyone has one. Please plant seeds. That's what it's about.
Can I just say something real
Go
fast?
ahead.
So, shouts to my North Carolina family, if they're watching tonight.
I got family out there too. That's what's up.
Shout out to the North Carolina family if they're watching tonight, wherever you guys are watching from.
So we just recently buried my aunt Flora. In
sorry to hear
Spanish, it just basically means flower in English. Her name. So we buried her. She had a lot to do with my early beginnings on, how I deal with textiles and all of that, hand stitching, these techniques that really are passed down like the griots, and so she left those seeds in me, and so now I'm blooming here, there, and everywhere with the design and with my business in totality. So even if I never have children, I know that I have workshops in which I teach and I give back to my community in ways where I, try to identify and highlight various areas of my business. So fashion is one of them. I have workshops, right? So even if I don't have children, each one of those people that I teach, they're going to be able to teach someone else. This craft that I am so blessed to be in all day long, it never dies. It's one of the oldest techniques for textile. The way my auntie showed me to stitch. So
Shout out to posthumous, big up for Aunt Flora.
Aunt Flora.
But you see, the aunt
We wouldn't have her.
But the aunt was preserving a legacy.
Oh yeah,
A legacy of the way somebody else taught her. Somebody passed it on to her, and she passed it on to you, and you're in a position to pass it on to others.
that's dope.
That's dope.
It's crazy because the little things that our parents, our aunts, our grandparents, everybody who came before us, they didn't need Ancestry.com. They knew. But first of all, if you were dating somebody outside of the family and you looked like you were serious, they wanted to know their mother's name, their father's name.
Because they wanted to know
family is buying into our
legacy.
family.
Yeah, whose legacy you coming from?
Shared legacy.
Yeah, that's where. Yeah.
Oh man.
Yeah.
So to encompass just the idea of humanity. First, no matter where you're from, whether you're from up north, up south, Midwest, a different country, you start off as human, and then we come and then we add characteristics to that human, whether you're black, white, Hispanic, whatever. But without humanity, you have nothing to stand on. Because humanity automatically says, share, tell your story. Oh, where'd you get that from? Show me how you knitted that. And then they take that to their countries, their cities, they give it to their families. Sometimes we forget where all the information come from. We just know it's Gucci now. We just know it's Louis Vuitton. But if we study Louis Vuitton and Gucci, we know those patterns come from where? Africa. So read the labels.
And even the Gucci, like those families that established those houses, they've been around for a while. And they passed on their traditions of how they sew and stuff, regardless of where they got it from. They kept passing it on.
Right.
And guess what? We go out and we spend our money and we buy Gucci and all that stuff. And sometimes just look at the history of it.
You know what's crazy? I know guys that used to laugh at kente cloth. But if you put kente cloth with a double G on it, oh, this is lit. Right?
It's Gucci. What you guys say about that, Tiffany? Anything you want to add to that?
Versace, all of them.
We're not giving them no play right now. We're not talking about those luxury brands. We're talking about Chiffani right now. So I'm not even off.
We're gonna get to that. We gonna get
I'm not
to
even
that.
off what they talking about because in real life those brands are there, but black designers matter,
Indeed.
Ooh, shout out to
Black
that.
designers matter. So I like if we're gonna talk about something that has kente or
No, but watch this. We're basically
let's highlight the ones
Well,
that
this is the
actually
build
have
up so we can
kente.
get to your marvelous
yeah.
story.
But you see, but
We're not even talking about Chiffani no more. If we're gonna highlight designers that have kente
Right.
in this very moment on
Right.
this show, while I am here, we're gonna talk, Ladoma. We're gonna talk, Telfar, who is a Liberian designer. We're gonna talk all of these people who actually incorporate
but
kente in
Not
what
but,
you
and-
all are discussing.
Okay.
We're not gonna highlight the big brands.
we're not.
that
But
have been around for hundreds of
But watch
years.
this. We're highlighting them because we're just using it to make a point of a statement as far as like even the brands that you mentioned, even Dirty Souls. These are new brands that just started. 5-10 years ago, maybe 20 years. It would be nice to know what their legacy is up until this point.
Right.
We're looking at brands that, whether it's African brands, even what's that dude from Brooklyn, Mashoud.
Yes.
Yeah, Mashoud's been around for a while.
So
You see, but do people know the history of Mashoud?
right.
Do they know the designs where it come from or the history of that?
So
that was passed down to him too.
So the reason we're having a conversation today, we want to celebrate all blackness. We want to celebrate what's in our communities. We also want to educate. So there's kids out there that only know the brand by what it is. They don't know any history behind it. So we have to put in our capsule, this is a fact. This is where it comes from. Just a little bit sprinkle so they'll go research it. So that then they will say,
I mean, there was a point where Hilfiger said he didn't want no black or none of our people wearing.
Timberland too?
Yeah, Timberland said that too. They ain't make they stuff for us. They said that outright. See what I'm saying? So that's part of their legacy. That's part of the legacy of these designs. These are all stuff that, but if people don't research and go back and look at it,
Right.
and that happened 15 years ago? About 15?
no, more than that.
No, when they made the announcement.
No, Timberland. Tommy Hilfiger.
Yeah.
We talking about Grand Poobah, 30 years.
Something, yeah. So kids that were born after 20 years after that weren't born in that era, that are thinking, oh, Tommy Hilfiger is cool right now.
Right.
Guess what? They weren't there to witness the racist remarks that was made. So this
Right.
is what we're saying, like when we say legacy, whose legacy are you buying into?
Right.
Whose legacy are you preserving? Whose legacy are you starting up? So
Right.
yeah,
Who are you? Supporting.
who
Period.
you supporting?
So we want to we want to give you the options. If that's what you like buying, buy it. But there's some other options that's better quality, hand stitched, hand woven. put a lot more blood, sweat, and tears in it than something that was sent to a third world country and stitched for 7 cents a day. Someone probably got
Jesus.
paid. You know, I remember I used to smoke beaties, right? And the old man said, "Yo, you know, I used to smoke those back in the day too." He told me though. He said, "You see that little string wrapped around it?" He said, "Maybe a little 5-year-old puts that string on there in India." So I said, "Tell me more. Tell me more. How much he get paid?" He said, "Maybe $3 a day. A day,
1 rupee.
right?"
That's
So
less than a rupee.
So I'm looking at the pack, the cone. You know, it come in cones, right? I'm like, I got 20 of them here. Like,
Wow.
so in a day, this kid has probably went through 50 to 100, maybe 200 packs that he did
And probably got $3 for the day.
for the day. Do you
Not
know
an
how?
hour.
I'm talking about a hand.
Yeah, man, you see how skinny it
That's
is?
crazy. So we want to celebrate those who are working. That's why we always say we're back and we're working. And we want to get into a real introduction to Tiffany's Chiffani styles.
Well,
We
we're
do
still
have
going to
some-
go into we're still going to go to commercial before we come to her because we want to give her the whole stage.
Please, because they can't get my name right. We're going to get it right after the commercial.
We're going to get it, but we're not going to commercial yet. So what are some of the different ways of preserving legacy?
To preserve it, it has to be spoke. It has to be shared. And I think that's the dialogue we were just having. If we don't share it, closed mouths don't get fed. Also don't get educated, right? So you could have a family heirloom, but if nobody tells you where the family heirloom is located, you might as well not have it.
You won't know about it.
You don't know what it looks like.
You don't even know it exists.
You know, my great grandfather brought this from such and such country. Might be a diamond ring that your great great grandmother passed to the grandmother, and the grandmother passed to the mother, right? And then one of the sons marries a young lady, and he gets divorced, and she's got the ring now. Lost legacy.
I know people that are losing homes. I mean, we're working on helping them out, but
Right.
yeah, I know people that are losing homes that was left to them by their fathers, their grandfathers.
Right.
I know people that
Land.
land.
Yeah.
Sure, it's happening in my family. Like, but things are getting worked out. But yeah.
And back to
It's-
what we said about Dame and Jay-Z, a lot of that ends up in court. Sometimes the state takes it because we don't have knowledge of how to preserve and to pay the taxes on the land and things of that nature. So these are things that we need to start opening ourselves up to. If you don't have the resources, that's what Illmind Capsule is. We are a resource. We actually don't claim to know it all. We claim to be able to want to find
Find
the
out some
resources.
information. This is
If
why
we
we
don't
have
know,
conversations.
we'll dig and we'll bring it back to you guys. So if you're listening, or if you please like, subscribe, share
On YouTube,
on YouTube.
at the Illmind Capsule. Follow the channel, LGND Filmworks.
Right. And follow the names under the
Yeah. And so when it comes to preserving legacies, like what are some different ways of preserving legacies? Because we know you're actually are in the business of helping or, preserving certain
He's
legacies.
taking a commercial break.
Well, we're going to get to the commercial break.
He just said we was gonna take a commercial
We're going to get to the commercial break.
break. Confused.
You gotta let us be the host, though.
Yeah.
we got you.
Wait, everybody calm down. He just said a few
I
moments
said in a
ago
few,
that
yeah,
you
I
were
said
gonna take a
after the commercial
right?
break, we're going to come
So
to,
I'm just going off that, right?
Yeah, we're still.
I
on.
said after the commercial break, we'll come back to Chiffani.
All right.
Yeah.
But we weren't taking the commercial break yet.
We'll
You
see.
probably heard me wrong. But it's
We'll
so
move forward.
so.
Right.
I mean, I was just asking. You are in a business or helping out to preserve certain legacies right now. What are some ways that you believe are different ways of preserving legacy?
Planting the garden.
Planting a garden.
Planting the garden.
And I mean, you want to elaborate on that? I mean, you working on a. I mean, you're actually involved with the Jerry Gant legacy. Do you want to share on that? Speak on that? Touch around that.
I'm involved with Pink Dragon Artist Syndicate.
Okay. Shout out to Linda from Pink Dragon.
And she manages Jerry Gant Collection.
Okay.
And I am the collection specialist there.
Wow. Okay.
Currently, some of his collection can be viewed at Ramapo College's Berry Center.
Okay.
Bulletproof Ambition, Jerry Gant, is on view right now in the Berry Center and the Pascal Gallery, or Kresge Gallery, sorry. Pascal Gallery is also hosting the Friends of JG, Jerry Gant. So shout out to Linda Street, Pink Dragon Artist Syndicate team, everybody over there. And what else we doing with Jerry Gant? This upcoming week, Thursday, you and Spencer have a film, I think, that's going to be viewed at North Museum of Art.
Shout out to that.
Give it up to Godson and Frozone. Yes, sir.
I mean,
Yes,
but you see,
sir.
those are some of the ways that, when I say what are different ways, those were just some of the ways that I wanted, us to highlight.
Right.
For those that don't know, like some ways are documenting, some ways are documenting the stories. Like, Jerry Gant was a very prolific artist.
Right.
In all veins, whether poetry, fashion, metalworks, and even when it came to the oral works, it's like he had a lot to say.
Me and Frozone were just talking about I was telling him about bar hopping and kind of the club life in New York, where I did promotion for like over 10 years. The speakeasies, the lounges, it's almost like you had to have a map or be with a guide that actually could help you navigate. And once you navigated a few times, you kind of committed to your own type of navigation system, where you went, what time you got there. But someone who just hopped on the scene wouldn't know where to go. And so having this information that she's sharing, that you're sharing, about JG's legacy, knowing about it and where to go, it starts in places like this. It might not be in everybody's newspaper or local gazetteer, if you have that here. You have to put yourself in a position where you can learn these things, and so that you are able to take part, because you're missing out if you don't. So that's where we are with it, and that's how I would also go about preserving.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's fair. I mean, there are definitely more ways to preserve legacy. And if you guys are interested in finding out, you can always research. But this is a great conversation to have, especially, it's good to always start your estate planning when you're young. A lot of people wait till they older, but sometimes older doesn't come. So that's something to think about. All right, so we're going to go to commercial, and Frozone, Marcus B&P. Yeah, real.
We're back.
And we're working. Yeah, so here we are on Preserving a Legacy. Got our special guest today, Tiffany, a.k.a., also known as Chiffani. Did I say it right?
You trying?
Chiffani.
You'll get there.
Can you help me out?
Nah, you got it.
All right. Well, so I'll kick it off. Who's Tiffany? Who is Tiffany?
I need to have an intro like Mr. Jerry, actually. I think I'm asked that question a lot. And if you don't know who I am by now, based off what you perceive me to be, I'm face value.
Well,
Really?
I know who you are.
Do you?
Well, I think I do. You wear a lot of hats, From what I do know, you are a stylist, you are a PR. But, for the people that are out there that don't know who you are, that's why we posed the question,
Okay. So now we get to Chiffani. Yay. Claps. Am I going to get a
Yes, you get
sound? Yay.
But this is why we're asking you who you are. Like,
Yay. Okay. Chiffani Brands Unlimited is a first of its kind luxury creative brand. We specialize in curation of design, which includes and is not limited to handmade fashions, tailoring, custom design. That is how Chiffani was started. That's how the name got up in a lot of people's papers and mags. I started Chiffani in 2009 when my uncle died. He was an artist who never got a chance to show his art. So this is my way of preserving his legacy, going back to the motif of the night.
okay. Shout out to that.
Speak to us about your boutique, Chiffani.
So I don't have a boutique.
Okay.
Okay, so speak to us about the services that you offer.
Cool. So PR services as well. I work with a gentleman by the name of Dolly P. He's the Prince of International Sound out of Alimosho, Nigeria. Shout out to Dolly P.
Olumosho.
Yeah, Alimosho. Yoruba gentleman. Definitely the go-to right now. So check out Dolly P on streaming platforms everywhere.
Yeah.
I'm here to plug myself. I don't know why why else I would be on a screen. I'm here to plug myself. I'm here to kick it with some gentlemen that I don't know and I do know. So apart from PR, we got a production set design. I work with Kay the Creator, Gold Standard Productions. Shout out to Kay the Creator. Some of you may know her. She is an award-winning documentarian.
Shout out to Kay.
Big
Shout out to
time,
Kay.
sis. I think I plugged everything and everybody. I also worked with a gentleman by the name of NBDY. Shouts to the Newark native, wherever you are in this country right now, family. Hope everything is love. I've worked with some of everybody up out of Newark. I've worked with people in New York. I've worked with people in LA. I've worked with people that look like me primarily. Some of my earliest clients included like Mary J. Blige and Bilal. So
Shout out to that.
yeah.
So, damn, you just went right into my next question. I was about to be like, are there any notable names that, you want to plug that you've worked with, but you just went right into that. Now, is there a method to how you create and how you work? Because it seems like, as much as you move around and work, it's like you move like a ninja. It's like people walk up in spaces and they see you there, but they don't know you're there because, it's like you're working, Is there a method to it?
If I'm there, I'm working. Just know this. I'm always working. I try to be intentional as best I can with the things I say yes to, so that my time is not wasted, so that there are partnerships and bonds that are formed, especially with Black business owners. But shouts to my last really big gig, Newark Museum of Art, in which I produced the design, the curation for their community day for the holiday. So that was really big. Thank you very much for the partnership. Visit Newark Museum, y'all.
Yeah, Newark Museum is doing some big things right now. Shout out to Newark Museum. Yeah, you want to ask some questions, Shad?
No, I'm good.
You said, okay, so we spoke to you earlier. You said you were speaking about having imposter syndrome. Can you touch on that a little bit? You felt like you, at some point, you had imposter syndrome.
So I feel like I struggle with imposter syndrome daily. Sometimes I forget who I am. And then I do these types of things to remind myself. Come out, get dressed, show out. I think that when you're an artist, period, you are often in your own brain, right? You don't know how to get out of it. You're like always there. Like you don't live in regular world because you're always in your brain. You're always in your imagination. You're always in your creative space, or you try to be, because that's where life is most comfortable. But sometimes in there creeps like this little, person called doubt. And you're like, okay, stop talking to me, doubt. I've done this, this, and this, and that, and that, and that. And these things quantify that, I am successful, or I am innovative, or I am creative. But then when that doubt comes into your brain, it's like, oh, I've done nothing. All is lost. I'm not where I want to be. You're like.
So real quick, would you consider that doubt like a little voice or like a loud voice?
Sometimes it can be little, I'll put it that way, and then sometimes it can be boisterous, right?
Wow.
So how do you get past that doubt voice? What are some things that you do to bring yourself out that and elevate
So
and back into your creative space or wherever you need to be?
that's a good question. I elevate. I elevate in other areas. So I try to be on high vibrations. I try not to go low, because low is not good for anybody or everybody, the world, me, my health, everything, right? My relationships, my business. And so I try to vibrate high all the time. And when I'm having one of those doubtful days, or one of those depressed days, or it's not a happy mental health day, right? So sometimes I just go take a nap. And as a business owner, I do not have that luxury, but if you're going to be on your P's and Q's, right? If you're going to vibrate at the level that you need to, right? You have to be well in here. Or sometimes I'll eat sushi in the bathtub. Like, it's like, don't tell anyone.
I never tried that, but I'm like,
It's
wow.
it's a
Tried to
hidden
envision
luxury of life. Like, seriously,
Sushi in the
eat you a
bathtub.
snack. I mean, I'm chubby, so I love like sushi for lunch, honestly.
I would definitely
So
try
I
some
just eat the
bathtub.
sushi in the bathtub
With candles.
When
with
you're
candles.
stressed out.
With candles, yes. My Netflix on my laptop,
Okay.
right? It's a
Setting the
whole
scene.
thing, right? And then you got your bubbles and you like a kid. So, do that for an hour, come out and you're refreshed. I actually did that the other day. Last Tuesday I woke up and I was like maybe in a funk. Like, I'm like, the sun is shining, bah humbug, right?
Right.
I'm like, what? Nah, the sun is shining. You got your eyes and you seeing the sunshine? All right, let's change this around. Close your eyes, go back to sleep for a couple more minutes, and then wake back up, and let's do this again.
That's dope, because we always say health and wealth here is our first and foremost agenda before we even speak. It's about having healthy communication, healthy vibrations, and something you said about lower vibrations and lower frequencies. because those frequencies do exist, what we as sometimes ethnic people, well, black people, right? We, due to PTSD and things of that nature, we pretty much nixed the lower and said, okay, I'm just not dealing with that, or I'm gonna get past it. But we have to embrace the lower frequency,
Right.
because if you do music, so you know harmonics. If we don't embrace the lower frequencies, we'll only have treble and highs. It'll sound angelic, it'll feel angelic, but it won't give you that thing that we need to the core. And I think that's what you get when you said, well, you know what? I go and kind of redeem herself, and she takes the bath, she gets the sushi, the things that she likes, and she's able to get through those moments and embrace them in that way. Everyone will have a different way in how to do it, but I thought that was amazing how you shared that. Yeah, I'm going to try it.
I'm gonna try it.
Sushi spot near you.
Listen, it might be tonight. You know, I got bonsai sushi down the street. Like,
funny.
listen, I need to get me in a salt bath with some sushi.
Yeah, yeah.
Now it's funny because it's fish in the water. You know?
All right, right.
See,
Yeah.
Put it together.
there go Frozone. So
I feel
yeah,
like it's all frequency at the end of the day, like he was saying, and I, I'm in a relationship, so sometimes even as a black woman, with a partner and a black woman like me, so I am somebody who, I won't say suffers from PTSD, but I know that there are aftershocks of things that have happened. I'm a survivor of a bunch of things, right?
Ooh,
So
okay. So speaking on that, you see, you're like prophetic in this conversation because it's like you just keep going into the next conversation. So let me ask a question.
how good it is.
So you are a young black woman in America, and there are some black systematic issues that exist. In the conversation that we had, you expressed to us that you dealt with some non-favorable situations down in South Carolina. Mm-hmm. Do you want to talk on that and bring awareness to your situation?
I was coming back from tour. It was the eastern part of the tour. I had my machinery in the car. I had rented what I thought was a regular rental car, but it looked like a sports car and apparently drug mobile to the police of South Carolina.
Wow.
I was riding looking like me, so maybe that was also too much for them in South Carolina. This red sports car, and I get pulled over for no real reason. They say that I'm tailgating the person in front of me or whatever, and we're in traffic and Thanksgiving holiday weekend traffic. So I'm like, there's no possible way we're in traffic. I wasn't tailgating anyone. They then rushed me and like pulled me out the car. At the time, I had a friend by the name of Raisa who is also known in the community, the art community, as Cups.
Shout out to Cups.
And she was on the phone with me at the time. We were 7:00 in the morning. We weren't expecting that. So she heard the entire just commotion. They punched me in my ribs. I wasn't resisting arrest. I honestly, after they yanked me out the car, I thought, okay, I'm about to be a name. I like literally, I thought that it went through my head. I'm like, well, at least you made it this far. At least you got the tour, that's the way and it's really not even, it's not comical, but that's really what I thought in the moment. Right. And so, they got these handcuffs on me and, they bumping my head on the when they're making me enter the car.
The rail.
I had so many bruises. Like I bruise easily. So like my wrists were like blue because I wasn't getting enough oxygen. They had the cuffs so tight. It was just like really crazy. They strip searched me. I was like, yo, I'm in a twilight zone. This is not happening to me. I have stayed on the straight and narrow for most of my life, Even hustling, like it's straight and narrow for me, And so as somebody like me, you don't think, oh, they're not coming after me. But they came after me, so it can happen to anybody. And I want people to realize that you got to be vigilant with these people. You got to vote. You feel me? Like, that's the only way these types of things are going to really make change. You got to be the majority and act like it, because we are. at the end of the day.
Definitely the majority.
Wow. I'm not even gonna sound the horns in that. Have you received any therapy or any?
Oh, for sure. For sure. I'm a black woman who vehemently believes in going to talk to somebody that is not your family, and preferably somebody that looks like you and may have grown up in the hood just like you. So maybe they know what it is to hear helicopters. Like, I grew up 18th Avenue and Myrtle Avenue,
I know
like back
exactly
in the
where,
day.
yeah.
And they shoot Wu-Tang Clan, the saga.
Saga, yeah.
They shoot that right there. It looks just like that right now, like, which is crazy.
Wow.
Mayor,
So, are you taking any action? Is any action being taken as far as no?
as far as the action, we're not going to speak on it, but that's my story. I was arrested. I was pulled over for no real reason.
Would you like to now that you you got the camera? Would you like to? Is there any messages or any message for young black women out there that you'd like to extend?
So I'm a domestic violence survivor. I'm a sexual abuse survivor. I am they shot at me survivor. So many things, right? So for young black people in general, or for young people, or for people in general, because a life is a life is a life, right? But specifically for people within my community, this is a platform for you gentlemen to speak, for your guests to speak, right? So I want to give a huge shout out to Shani Baraka Women's Resource Center, because they're in the community right now. They run a reel right now telling people or showing people how they can try to use tools to escape the hands of violence, domestic violence, sexual violence. And I was one of those people that they were able to help. So I shared my story with them, and
Shout out to the Shani Baraka organization. They're definitely in New York doing a lot of work. Yeah, sorry to hear that, Tiff. Every time I hear that, it kind of
I'm not sorry. You know what? I'm a rose that like blossoms. You know what I'm saying? Like, I feel like seasonally at this point, and it's because I deal with those traumas, and then I'm able to find ways to make those traumas more beautiful within myself, because they're gonna always be there. You know what I'm saying? Like you guys were saying, you gotta stay in the low vibrations. I don't specifically agree with that, but I do agree with sitting in the pain and then coming out of it more beautiful. It hurts.
I think that's what he meant by
Well,
that.
not staying it. We have to embrace it and embrace it as a reality instead of blocking it.
That's true.
Right, because if you block it subconsciously, when something comes awry later on in life and you don't know what's going on, it's because you never dealt with it. And you never said, this is a reality. This really happened to me. And what you're doing today is, this really happened. And you're sharing it so it doesn't happen to somebody else. Even if it happens to somebody else, they have the strength
to get
speak
through
on
it.
it.
To speak on it. Yeah,
You
And
know,
not be ashamed.
we can vote. I heard you say vote. We can show our strength in numbers, but also a lot of these stories isn't. How many stories haven't never been told, and it's happened to so many people before it happened to you, and maybe it wouldn't happen to you if someone else spoke. You know, in that area. So this goes out globally to how many other people are watching. Share. Most definitely share. Like and subscribe is good, but sharing is that part that we need, because this might go into someone's living room or someone's cell phone that's going through it tonight. And tomorrow they will have strength to speak about it. You know, so that's what it's about. And we salute you, sis.
I definitely salute you.
For going through that, for enduring, but also saying that survivor part. The victim part, we weren't born victims. We weren't born slaves. That's those lower vibrations. But embrace that it happened. There was slavery.
We can't deny the fact that it happened.
But now we embracing and celebrating the survivors. So that goes out to anybody who survived anything like sis here. Reach out also. She spoke about what was a
Shawnee Baraka Women's Resource Center in North New Jersey. If you know anyone or if you're having difficulties in these areas, they're there for you.
And thanks for sharing that resource. Right?
Thank you.
So, speaking of sharing, something to share to Black women especially, we do have homage to Mama, which is your video, and maybe that's relevant to play.
Yeah, we're gonna play
game.
that.
Yeah.
That's
okay.
we're actually coming to that.
Thanks, Frozone.
Yeah.
Yep.
No problem.
So during the pandemic, there were monuments that and statues across the country, and also here in Newark, that was taken down. And talks have been had about what statues are going to go up and replace some of those statues, such as Christopher Columbus's statue here in Newark by Washington Park. And while it was empty, or while there was no statue on there, I saw a video pop up on Instagram one day, and I'm like, hold up, is that a moving statue? Is that a live human moving statue? And I'm like, didn't Christopher Columbus used to be there? I'm like, hold up, that's Tiff. Like, what's Tiff doing on the monumental stand? So, shout out to that. Do you want to tell us what she was doing before we actually play the video? Because that's what Fro was talking about.
Yeah, that was frightening and super fun, but it was literally homage to Mama. So I poured out some liquor to my ancestors because I knew what that square was before they renamed it after General Washington. And they put Christopher Columbus. They put Christopher Columbus up, and I'm like, all right, they took it down because, of everything that was going on in 2020. But, we also had no idea that they were planning to rename it anyway, Harriet Tubman Square. So when we did that stunt, we had no idea about that. So we went out there. A few of my friends came out, 9 o'clock at night. I climbed the ladder, and I went to where the base of where Christopher Columbus once stood. And while I was up there, we saw a fox run by. And I was like, all right, y'all like that liquor? All right, cool.
A fox in Newark.
Randomly. And it wasn't even that late at night, which is crazy.
A fox in Newark.
It wasn't in the middle of the night. It was like evening, like kind of like it is now. And, the photographers that were there.
Did they catch it?
I don't know if they caught it.
Crazy like a
But
fox.
these photographers are on the ground, so it was good
that
they caught it. Y'all know the photographers in Newark that's on the ground, so those were the ones that were there, and I'm so glad that they were able to come out that night. And so we turned it into a short film, and it's basically an ancestral offering to all those who were on the underground. I'm sure somebody somebody who was trying to escape to freedom ran through there.
But it's interesting. We're talking about Washington Park. That used to be a marketplace. It used to be there's actually another statue on the other side, and it has a writing on it. And I myself and a mutual friend of ours, I'm not going to mention her name, and actually Lau, we walked around there, and she showed us the writing on there.
What'd you say?
You ready for this? There were indigenous people that when they arrived there, and they did marketing, and that was the place of commerce. Now, what had happened was, when the conquerors came in, they pushed them all the way to the West Ward.
I think I heard something slightly about that.
Yeah, the West Ward. So it's like it's almost like gentrification. Like
not almost. That is totally
yeah.
gentrification.
It was.
Right.
If you think about it. So the indigenous Indians of the land that were originally there, and it said it like
So rallied
this
them
land-
out of the central area,
Yup, and pushed
out
them-
of sight of the common people.
and they named that park Washington Park, and had Christopher Columbus right there.
Well, it's
So
no
that was
longer
powerful.
his park.
Right.
That was
that was
powerful.
me sitting on that throne
Oh,
to
jeez.
reclaim what it needed to be.
Salute, 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 salute.
So yeah,
Strength in numbers, but sometimes it's the power of one. Yeah.
I just
Yeah.
do whatever makes me feel at peace and what is most intentional.
and I'm sure you got a lot of feedback, like positive feedback and all kinds of feedback.
Yeah, it was pretty surprising. It was pretty surprising. I've always been into the visual arts since I was a child. So to actually get feedback instead of hearing like a
So
crowd clap, but to get individual
So
was
what was the
very
most-
humbling.
What was the most? I guess. What was the feedback that stood out to you the most? Like,
The feedback was from a white person, and this is a very indigenous African presentation. It's definitely stylish. It's luxury, it's fashion. It's all wrapped in one, but it's a statement. And to have an Italian actually say that they rocked with it and they were just blown away, and they examined Christopher Columbus and what he means to that community. He's examining it further. So it's like I opened up, like, you've been hearing it all over, all the reports of this guy was not who they teach him to be, right? Who they wrote him in history to be.
Stolen legacy.
Stolen legacy, right?
we're talking about legacy, right?
But it's interesting that the brother was Italian because let's just say for what it is, he understands what legacy is. He was reared up. I'm not just putting a scope on people, but if I was to look at other nationalities,
Yeah,
they start from young,
Yeah.
teaching them the right way. And when you've been taught or untaught, or we filter through pages, then your recollection and what you hold on to the true or hold as true as legacy is not going to be the same as other people,
Yeah.
right? So for someone that, because Christopher Columbus was Italian, or so they say, Cristobal sounds Spanish to me. But even just knowing that, I've always been not a gatekeeper of the truth, but an examiner of the truth, and one who would open the door to share the truths that I've learned or unlearned. Because there's a lot of things that were taught to us as children that weren't right, And so when we go forward, as your piece that the homage to Mama, right? As we go forward, passing righteous energy, passing positive vibes, positive auras, should be our incentive and our main goals. Because passing bad dope to our kids, what happens at the end? They become dope fiends. And when I'm talking about bad material, bad...
Yeah, when he said bad dope, he's not saying actually passing bad dope.
But it's just as bad as
It's just
dope.
as bad, yeah. That's the, yeah.
You know?
Hey, metaphors, man.
Kids is wearing their pants off their ass. You understand what I'm saying? And I understand the style. And I'm not beating them up for the style. But to know that history of it. They may not go into it as crazy if they knew what that stemmed from. Right? You'll get upset if someone calls your uncle that's was an alcoholic a wino. You'll get upset if your cousin's he takes a hit of some controlled substance. But when you exhibit that look, that action with speaking like that,
And guess
it
what?
looks savage.
And guess what? Legacies ain't always good legacies.
Oh yeah. Let's talk
Some
about it.
people preserve bad legacies that have well, in their eyes, might be good to them, but then in the eyes of other people in other communities,
Right.
that might be like, you know what, that family, their legacy is messed up, but they still preserve it.
That's why we gotta salute the stylists. We gotta salute the people who do music, and even giving back to the kids and using the lingo. They're taking the savage and say, no, that's savage, and it's in a good way. You know, what Rihanna, Savage Fenty, like, those things, taking the negative and making it a positive.
Ill Mind Capsule.
Right. We used to ask, oh, what do you think when you hear Ill Mind Capsule? Oh, no one ever said a sick, demented person. They said, yo, something ill, something upbeat,
Something dope.
Something dope.
Yeah, like you put in something like you got, some magnificent thoughts in your capsule and you sharing it with the world.
Let's not hold back on our ebonics. Let's
Yeah.
not hold back on style. And if you want to wear a certain now it sounds like I'm turning my thoughts around. But if you want to dress that way and you feel confident in dressing that way, dress that way and murder it. You know what I'm saying? But I'm just saying taste goes far. Because I want you to also walk into the bank and drop get that million. You know what I'm saying?
So on that note, we're gonna go into homage for mama.
Homage for mama.
It's actually
Homage.
homage to mama.
See, I had it right the first time. Homage to mama. She said it with the French. Homage.
Homage to mama, and in French, homage à maman.
Ooh.
Tenía 7 años apenas 7 años. ¿Qué 7 años? No llegaba a 5 siquiera. De pronto unas voces en la calle me gritaron, ¡negra! 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 ¿Soy acaso negra? Me dije. Sí. ¿Qué cosa es ser negra? ¡Negra! Yo no sabía la triste verdad que aquello escondía. ¡Negra! Y me sentí negra. ¡Negra! Como ellos decían. ¡Negra! Y retrocedí. ¡Negra! Como ellos querían. ¡Negra! Yo odié mis cabellos y mis labios gruesos y miré apenada mi carne tostada y retrocedí. ¡Negra! Y retrocedí. ¡Negra! 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 Y pasaba el tiempo y siempre amargada seguía llevando a mi espalda mi pesada carga. Y cómo pesaba. Me alacé el cabello, me polvé la cara, y entre mis entrañas siempre resonaba la misma palabra. ¡Negra! 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 Hasta que un día que retrocedía y que iba a caer. ¡Negra! 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 ¿Qué? ¿Y qué? ¡Negra! ¡Sí! ¡Negra! ¡Soy! ¡Negra! ¡Negra! ¡Soy! ¡Negra! ¡Sí! ¡Negra! ¡Soy! ¡Negra! ¡Negra! ¡Soy! Yo y en adelante no quiero laciar mi cabello. ¡No quiero! Y voy a reírme de aquellos que por evitar, según ellos, que por evitarnos algún sinsabor, llaman a los negros gente de color. ¿Y de qué color? ¡Negro! ¿Y qué lindo suena? ¡Negro! ¿Y qué ritmo tiene? ¡Negro, negro, 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 negro! Al fin comprendí. ¡Al fin! Ya no retrocedo. ¡Al fin! Y avanzo segura. ¡Al fin! Avanzo y espero. ¡Al fin! Y bendigo al cielo porque quito Dios que negro hasta bache fuese mi color y ya comprendí. ¡Al fin! Ya tengo la llave. Negro, 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 negro.
Oh, y'all not showing the whole thing. So
And we working. Nice Antoni.
Shawborn Infinite. And our lady.
Tiffany, Chiffani, Salas.
Oh. Let me see if I can say that the right way.
I'm not doing it. I gotta study.
Tiffany, Chiffani, Salas.
Almost.
Is that?
It's the
Chiffani?
Chiffani.
No. You got it wrong.
No, you said Chiffani.
No, it's.
Go ahead.
Nah, you know what?
She's
Let me
gonna
not act
grade
like I
both
know.
of us.
Let
No,
me not
you-
act like I
you
know how to
say
say
You
it.
say it, and then I'm gonna say it.
All right. Chiffani. You see, I had to say it with my eyes closed.
Tiffany, Chiffani, Salas.
Who had it? You see, I'm African. I got a
Blame it on the African tongue. Yeah, right. But you guys saw what we saw. That
was phenomenal.
was that's a piece of work that we're happy to have shared in the capsule. But we're gonna let her describe what was going on, what you were thinking when you had that vision. That was it's
inspired
very
that?
visionary moment.
The African drums.
Oh, don't be humble because that's big. This is
This is why she came in here with that big energy. Like,
what you shared.
she's like, oh, this show should be about me.
Well, look, she shared with us.
And then now we see why.
She
like,
said that wasn't her. She said she's afraid of heights. So like,
It's a Tiffany show. If you invite
see?
me, I don't know.
hey,
all right.
you know. So you want to talk
Just
about?
kidding. I'm not really like that.
No, she's not really like that. She's really cool.
Everybody thinks that though, so I just go with the imagery.
What, diva-esque?
Yeah, everybody swears
She's
that's
not
me. I'm
really-
actually a
she's not
nerd.
really
I like
like
to
that.
read and be quiet a lot. Like that's my thing.
All right.
Like
good to know.
tea. Yeah, my
Sushi in the
dog.
bath.
Sushi in the bathtub.
with wine and candles. Don't forget the
Yeah.
wine and candles. So yeah,
Not wine though. Some water is my thing. Water, lemon water, lime water, fruit water. I like supple skin.
see, we just misread her. I did.
Everybody does. It's okay.
I admit, like I apologize. I'm humbled.
But the
So,
vision.
the vision.
The
Share with
vision.
us,
So, thank you all for wanting to expound on the vision. So, like I said, it was basically an offering to my ancestors. I found out some information about Christopher Columbus, and I have Dominican roots, but come to find out, I'm really Haitian.
Oh wow.
And I also have Haitian
The
family.
Espanola.
Right. I have Haitian family that we were married into. I've always been around Haitians growing up. On Myrtle Avenue, it's like a hub. It's Little Haiti in certain parts of Irvington.
18th Ave.
In Newark too.
it's all Haitian,
Sac Passe, Sac and Lao.
Nambule.
Y'all gotta say it right if y'all gonna say it. Shouts to all of those for sure. I really rock with the Haitian community. And I've always been Haitian by association, but now I know I'm actually Haitian. So, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, so because I found out that information, I was like, you know what? My whole life, y'all been lying. You know what? I'm going to do something. I'm going to do something to tell you how I feel about your lives and how they have affected the way I even view the world. Period.
So who came up with the side cut? I'm excited. I was intrigued by the fashion. Who came up with the design?
So, like I said, I started as a designer, and that doesn't leave. That's just another facet of my company, Chiffani Brands Unlimited. So, you saw Chiffani on me. It was, it was red chiffon, and
See, I'm listening to her say it. And I'm paying close. I gotta get it right by the end of the show. But yeah,
red chiffon belt, and the rest of the piece was organza. I had beading at the back. The video didn't really show all the beading well. We didn't have much light because this was a very possibly contemptuous stunt that I was pulling off. So,
You said it was like 8 or 9, right? 9.
Yeah, it was in the evening, you know, when downtown slows down, everybody goes home and all of that. So my people came out and supported, and
You
The-
did say
yeah,
that there
the-
was a fox.
yeah.
What's that about?
It was, you know, if anyone performs ancestral offering, you do know about how the liquor is a major portion of your ceremony. And so when I landed or when I arrived to the park, you know, I poured out liquor and I said a prayer.
Blessed
Because I am going up 30 feet and I'm scared of heights, so I also suffer with anxiety. So to be able to fight through all of that, it was like my mantra I'm always repeating to myself is mind over matter. And that's in everything. Your mind has to be strong. So I just sucked it up and basically was like, I need to do this because I need to make this statement. It's necessary. People need to know why. And if they don't know why, they'll kind of get it. Because you see a black woman sitting on top of the
Where?
the
He used to
statue
be.
where he used to be.
That's powerful.
Yeah.
And that's legacy.
Yeah, that's legacy. Because we talking about it now, and it's on a capsule. It's been capsulated. People are gonna be talking about that experience and watching that video and seeing you for who knows how long.
Right.
So
For
that's-
those who couldn't be there.
Yeah.
Watch
that. Like
Watch it.
that's legacy right there.
Don't try this at home, though. It's like, not
Don't try that
safe at all.
You might. We're not telling you to
It
go
was
do that.
spiky gate
Oh,
around me.
Jesus.
Like, it was just a lot of things to overcome mentally because you saw them visually. And then at the top, it was just this base of just all this cracked old, you know, I guess cinder block or whatever the material is that they have. And it was just really like, wow.
And what year was this?
This was 2020.
2020?
Oh yeah, it was.
Okay.
When they took out during the pandemics and stuff, when they took off the statues, and it was going on across the country, I believe.
Right.
Yeah.
And it, you know,
I think around that same year, if it might have been 2019, they had locked that lady up for climbing on the Statue of Liberty.
Oh wow.
Yeah. But I think she was definitely in a
She
different
was
mental
that.
place.
Yeah, she was bold.
No,
Like,
this-
this is powerful and bold.
Right.
Like, this is Christopher Columbus. You know. Yeah. Yeah. He
just a man,
just a man.
rapist.
Ooh. Anyway, anywho.
No, let her go.
No.
What do you mean?
No. That's why I gave it. That's why I gave it the horn. That's why I gave it the horn.
Let's go deep.
Oh yeah, they did a lot of stuff. You know. I mean, you want to leave it there, or you want to?
I mean, this has been really interesting as an experience and as
It
a
is an
whole.
experience.
It is something that, you know, I think. What
Sorry,
happened?
no. I was trying to get the bug off. Okay.
It's something that I think, you know, I may be able to do again. You know, so you guys broke the mold on this, right?
Oh no, we definitely want to have you back up here. And next time
Just
it's
please
going to be.
forgive us for our.
We have breakdowns on the show.
Yeah.
And we're getting it together. You know, it's such is life. You know.
But the refinement process is also part of the capsule.
Yeah.
You know.
we like people to see it. You know, like they get it.
And I
raw.
hope my point is we're okay with you all. I know y'all are black men, and you know, sometimes it's not welcomed well, but it's from a place of love, just so that we can all
always
be great
welcome.
together.
It's always
You know.
welcome.
Strive for perfection every day.
So, anything that we can look towards from you, from the future. Well, not that you're working on now that you will present to us in the near future.
Yeah.
Because the future doesn't exist till you create it now.
Actually, we're in the future.
Yeah,
We are the future. We're here
Yeah.
in this.
Truth.
We're working.
Yeah, in this dimension. So I'm working on a lot of things, and I would just have whomever is tuned in to stay tuned. If you are following me, thanks. If you want to follow me at Tiff_Styles_ the letter U, the number 2. And then I'll post things when I feel like they're necessary to share. I choose to win a lot, but I don't always post all my wins because sometimes it breeds like weirdness amongst people when you see them in real life, and I'm not really into that. So I'll post what I think is necessary for everybody.
You know what? I like that. I like that humbleness. And I started doing the same thing about a year ago when I realized, not all your wins. And I think it goes back to that whole thing of like, you expect people to be happy and celebrate you when they see you winning. And then it's like, nah,
I'm
they
not
come
even
and they.
expecting it.
Yeah.
Like-
Well, it's not even expecting, but you would think that, okay, but then they show up in other energies and you're like, okay, maybe I shouldn't show. Because sometimes we never know how it comes off. They might think we're showing off too. It might come off as showing off. So
four devils, man: jealousy, hate, envy, and greed.
yeah, so I get it.
If it looks like someone's showing off by showing like, because you don't know what someone's story is and how long it may have taken for them to actually get to even what you're seeing. So if anything, it should inspire you, and maybe something that you may want to aspire for, but never let it breed the wrong way
Contempt,
inside
envy,
of you.
jealousy,
Like,
Yeah.
it doesn't make sense for that to be, because the only competition is the person you see in the mirror.
That's a factory.
I don't ever look to anyone. Good for you, if you're especially if you're black. I'm rooting for everybody black, go for it. But yeah, like, just do you.
Do you? Ill Mind Capsule,
Just
number 24, preserving legacy.
That's right.
And on that note, we are done.
We're out of here.
We out of here. Spence, Frozone, what we have? We have anything?
Music